Right now, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk a little MMA. Going to join us on the phone, senior writer for CageJunkies.com, Steve Solar. Steve, good morning, and welcome to Sports Radio 930. Appreciate your time.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, first of all, you got a great website. Kind of was going through a little bit of it on the MMA. I was looking at one of the pages there. Hall of Famer Bob Carson asked, does Nick Diaz have serious mental problems? What's your thoughts on that? One of your writers posted that.
Nick Diaz is definitely an interesting character. He garnered a lot of attention this past weekend when he no-showed a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu event out in California. It was the World Expo of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He was scheduled to face Estimate in the main event, and he no-showed that event. He's an interesting character. I don't know if he's got mental issues, but he definitely walks to the beat of his own drum, and it's definitely created some issues for him in the past. With the UFC not showing up to press conferences and things like that. So he's definitely creating some issues for himself.
And he's fought some great competitors, though, hasn't he, Diaz?
Yeah, he is. He's one of the top welterweights in the world. He's a former Strikeforce champion, and he's really fought the best of the best. He was slated to fight GSP before GSP got injured, and then he fought Carlos Condit for the interim title, and that was a very controversial fight. A lot of people think he won that fight for the interim title. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Condit walked away with the championship, but he's a top level guy. He's one of the best in the world.
How about Jim Miller?
Jim Miller?
Yeah,
Jim Miller. He's a great fighter. He recently lost his. He lost his most recent fight, mm-hmm. But he's going to be back on track soon, and he's definitely a threat to anybody in the lightweight division for sure.
Now, how about some of the big tournaments coming up? Well, who are we looking at as far as some of the premier fighters and some of the upcoming fights that you're going to be watching in the next few weeks?
Well, actually, this Saturday night there's a Strikeforce card. It's Josh Barnett versus Dan Cormier for their heavyweight Grand Prix final. Mm-hmm. This is a heavyweight tournament that Strikeforce started putting on a long time ago, and they finally got around to getting the final fight between these two. They made it to the finals, and this is going to have potentially some title implications in the UFC. The winner of this fight, there's some talk out there that they may be getting a shot at the heavyweight title. Mm-hmm. The next big card for the UFC is UFC 146, and this is a huge card. Literally, all 5 fights on the main card are heavyweight fights, and that's the first time in UFC history that they've had a main event with all the main card fights being heavyweight fights.
Another one I know, some people were talking to me the other day about it. The guy they call the Hulk, Bob Sapp. What's on him now? I know he's getting back into the cage again for some more MMA stuff.
Yeah, Bob Sapp is a well-known name in the MMA world. He fought in Pride for a very long time, and when he first started in Pride years ago. In the early 2000s, he was actually pretty good. He fought Antino Nogueira and did really well against him. He wound up losing by submission, but that's one of the biggest fights in Pride. Unfortunately, lately, there's been some talk of Bob Sapp taking some fights and taking dives and pays to take dives and fights, which is an issue in Japan mostly. So he's getting a lot of heat right now for just going in there to get a payday and potentially actually throwing some fights is what the talk has been lately.
Yeah, Steve Solar on the line with us, senior writer for CageJunkies.com, a great website. Steve, this stuff is really taken off. And how about the exposure that Fox is giving the MMA? I know it's made it to national attention, which is really big when you get on a network like that. Tell me, what has that brought to MMA and all the fighting like that?
It's really taking it into the mainstream, and it gives the MMA fan and even the casual MMA fan more of an opportunity to see fights. Back in the day, when MMA first came around, it was almost like the dark days, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean, it was dark and finding results. You had to go online to find results, and now you can turn on primetime TV and see Bellator and UFC on Fuel. They just had an event on Fuel over the weekend, and that Fuel is Fuel is owned by Fox, so there's free fights on all the time, and it's really taking it into the mainstream.
How about the money these guys are making now? I mean, we're seeing the purses are obviously increasing. It seems that more people are leaning toward the MMA stuff versus boxing. Are the purses building quite a bit now?
The purses are building quite a bit, and ESPN actually did a show on MMA fighter pay in the UFC, and it shed some bad light on it, but they didn't actually really approach it correctly. The purses are published publicly, so you know what a fighter's going to make, you know what their win bonus is, but they get behind the scenes bonuses that don't get published, and it's part of their salary. So there's private parts of their salary that actually don't get made to the public. Only their purses and fighter bonuses do. So they actually make really good money. I mean, the top guys are making a couple of million a year at least. There's definitely some millionaires in the sport. There's some really big paydays out there, and it's just going to continue to get bigger. As the sport grows and the fan base grows, there's going to be more fighters and a demand for more fighters, and they're going to get better pay.
Yeah, it is. Great stuff. Steve, again, the website, CageJunkies.com. Steve Solar, senior writer. Great website, great stuff, Steve, and we'll talk to you down the road, and thanks for stopping by.
All right, thanks. And we just want to mention, if you go to CageJunkies.com and click on our Facebook page, we are giving away free tickets and T-shirts, and we are actually giving away UFC tickets on there as well.
All right, go to the website, CageJunkies.com. Steve, thanks for your time. Thanks for stopping by here on Sports Radio 930.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, have a great day. Yeah, absolutely some good stuff. Check out that website, though, CageJunkies.com.